Alright, the Moon Boys are not going to enjoy this video, but of course, since when do they come to this channel for facts? We are coming here for grounded analysis, and that's exactly what I want to deliver to you guys, talking about this chart right here from Crypto God John. Actually a pretty interesting Twitter account, but specifically the ideas he's putting forward here, where we tag the all-time high, come back down to those very high 50s, low 60s, and then range. His overall theory is actually a little bit more fleshed out than that, and we're going to come back to it later on in this video, but it's actually one of the key ideas I was talking to you guys about throughout these months since we've been trending up quite aggressively, and I want to cover it with you deeply, intimately in this video. So first of all, let's get into the main analysis here. I haven't actually looked at the charts that much recently. I've been traveling a little bit, but you know, fortunately not much has happened. And actually what we can see if we zoom out and really kind of take a look at what's been going on to appreciate this price action, Bitcoin has managed to pull off one of their massive moves to the upside right here like this, and then pretty much just stabilized. You know, I mean, pretty much since this day here, 28th of February until the present day today, it's been 38 days of the price more or less stabilizing. Now, I understand that this is happening in a big price range, right? From this wick up to this high, that's a 25% move. And, you know, that's definitely a fairly large period, you know, a fairly large price action kind of range here. But what we're doing quite clearly, I think, and this becomes even more clear, you know, if you zoom out, definitely not on the weekly, maybe on the 3-day, is that we are consolidating, right? We are kind of, you know, just pausing a little bit before potentially continuing the trend. And that's the most obvious thing I'm seeing right now, right? As a technical analyst who's been doing this for 7 years, this chart alone, when we start looking at other charts, the picture is going to change a little bit, but this chart alone looks pretty strong. Okay, it looks like we've just had a nice big uptrend, you know, and within this uptrend, we've had a couple of times where we've paused and traded sideways. We've had another pause trading sideways. We've had another one, you know, so that's kind of the key characteristic that we're displaying in this market for sure, you know, but right now, it seems like we're doing it again, just kind of consolidating, getting ready to potentially blow up again. So that is definitely quite exciting. And these are good signs for the market, right? This is what you want to see, you know, to potentially indicate that we could be ready to continue trading up. Now, what this does is it also kind of feeds us into a, you know, symmetrical triangle. And again, you know, as far as bullish patterns go, this is basically the best you're going to get. You know, really, really good, healthy price action to be seeing charts like this. Let me go ahead and just move this line. And we're basically at the breakout point now as well. I mean, this is a pretty hot time for the market. We're on a Saturday right now. Obviously, the trading week has closed. We're going to reopen the trading sessions, specifically for the US stock markets, which are the most important ones for crypto, in about 2 days from now. So we've got a nice pause, and hopefully not too much happens until those markets open. But what we are seeing right now is the setup where, you know, if we're going to do anything with this symmetrical triangle, it must be done now. We're out of time. So, and that's not to say we're late, we're just on time. So if anything's going to happen, it's probably going to happen right around now. And we already know this, right? I mean, typically with these kind of patterns, you don't trade right up to the apex where the two lines meet. You're typically going to break out like 66 to 75% of the way through the pattern. So yeah, it's basically about time. It's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. And like I said, when you form these patterns inside of uptrends, you are looking at bullish targets. So let's go ahead and actually try and understand where a potential target would be for this pennant, and if we just kind of extract that from the breakout point that we could potentially be looking at, I think if we do get a bullish breakout, it's going to happen a little bit sooner, let's say 8th, 9th of April, which are, you know, the Monday and Tuesday coming up. That does put us at speculative targets above $80,000. So definitely very good stuff there. Now, if we take a look at this from the perspective of our key indicators as well, we've also got some nice stuff going on here. We've got a, you know, somewhat decent 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. It's not a big cloud. I don't really care about it. But we have the daily Ichimoku cloud, and this is still very far away from the current price. So this actually supports a hypothesis saying that we're going to go down, and we will get there. Don't worry about it. This market is at such an interesting point right now, you know, that the number one thing I want to do for you all when you come into this particular YouTube channel is just make sure that you're able to keep yourself nice and grounded, healthy mindset, healthy approach to the market, you know, not getting too crazy with hype or anything like that, you know, while we're in this market, because that would obviously be quite destructive. You know, a lot of people, they get into these crypto markets, they just follow the hype trains. It's really destructive. It's really nasty to watch and stuff like that. You know, that's not what we're going for here. So if you do appreciate these videos, guys, do me a favor and check out the links with the description below. You're going to get huge bonuses as well to all of the exchanges I'm using. Bybit allows you to get up to $30,000 in free trading capital that you can deploy into the market. And that's going to happen right when you sign up using my link and start trading. They will deposit that capital into your account. And also a free $500 Bitcoin position. So that is just a free position. You can do whatever you like with it. You can go long or short. That is your choice. And if the position makes any money, those profits are yours to keep. And if it doesn't make money, forget about it. Not your money. Doesn't matter. That is Bybit's loss. And same for these other exchanges here. You've got BingX, 2bit, phenomenal no KYC alternatives to Bybit, meaning they don't ask you for your ID or anything like that, and you're still getting huge bonuses here as well. So that is absolutely huge. In fact, BingX is giving much bigger bonuses than anybody else, and they allow you to trade traditional finance. 2bit, another very strong exchange in the game, well worth checking out. So if you're interested in that stuff, go ahead and check it out. But let's come back to the price action here and talk a little bit more about some of these key indicators. On the daily time frame, we've got our EMA ribbon as well. We're continuing to find support in this EMA ribbon, so that is absolutely fantastic. Again, strongly indicating that we could be rising up. That is kind of where I'm not able. That's kind of where I'm, gonna have to stop in terms of analysis, because the other time frames just aren't telling us anything. On the 4-hour time frame, what we have to keep in mind is that there hasn't been any sort of significant trend for the last 3 weeks minimum. And that means we're not really able to get anything clear on the 4-hour time frame. We already saw a taste of that with the Ichimoku cloud, but there's just not a whole lot you can do. And this is another really important note that people just miss in the space all the time. We're not interested in trading things every day, every moment of our lives, because we're just fucking gambling and itching to pull the trigger on something so we can make money. A lot of people feel that, right? A lot of people come into the game, and this is why you come on this YouTube channel. Everyone else is screaming about fucking breakouts and triangles and all sorts of shit like that. And you come on this channel, it's just like, hey, what's up, man? We got our coffee. Are we chilling? Have we got our Coke Zero? Because we're on that aspartame wave, like, well, we're just chilling, we're having a good conversation. And that's a really interesting and different approach to what you'll see elsewhere, because we don't want to buy that hype, right? We don't want to be in the sphere of people that feel like they've got to be executing a trade every single day because they want to make money. That's ultimately what it comes down to, right? A lot of people actually miss this, but the reason that people are so aggressive, way more than they need to be with their trades, is purely because they just think that the more buttons they click, the more money they're going to make. And obviously, you and I know, and I've been doing this, like I said, for 7 years. We know this very well. That's not how this works. That's not how this game works. You don't just choose to make money when you want to and then fuck off. No, the market will come to you when it's ready, when there's an opportunity, and then it's going to be your choice if you take it or not. And what this smaller time frame analysis tells us is that there hasn't been a lot to do on these small time frames for Bitcoin. For altcoins, the pictures are a little bit different, and I'm going to cover that with you all in this video as well, so stay tuned for that. I also want to talk to you a little bit about Pepe and other meme coins. I think that this could be interesting. I was sitting with a very good friend of mine a couple of days ago, and he was kind of selling me on the whole meme coin fiasco, should we call it? I don't know. And I figured that, this is something I want to look at a little bit, maybe even trade. I just think that it could be a place where there's some easy money waiting to be scooped up. So I'll talk to you about that later on in this video as well. If you're excited for all that stuff, smash those likes up. It really does help out with the YouTube channel. But what I think is, very, very interesting is that, like I said, on these shorter time frames, you can't analyze anything anymore. So I'm just not too worried about what's going on from that particular perspective. Now, if we bring it back to the main Bitcoin chart that I've got here and take a look at some of my key levels, one thing that I think is very clear is that we are still bound by the exact same levels we knew about before. In fact, even more than we knew about before, because it's proven to be more reliable than I thought it would be. I personally didn't expect this level of support to hold, yet it was still a level that I showed you guys. And sure enough, we didn't come back down to these lows or even these lows here at 62.63. We managed to bounce off this 65k area. Since then, we've just moved up to the top of this range, and that implies further downside back here, maybe even a sideways range. So that's what this, much more plain naked analysis is showing us. If we're able to clear this particular area of resistance at $68,000, it should be a very nice, easy climb up to $71,000. The reason I'm saying that is because of what we did the previous times. When we got above this level, it was a quick move up to cover more than half of this range. On this occasion, it was about half of the range. And on this occasion, we just went all the way up. On this occasion here, when we lost this area of support, we came all the way down and went all the way back up within the same trading session, within the same 4-hour candle. So that was very volatile price action. But curiously, it only takes place between this green box at 71.5 and this green box at 78. Very, very important. We come all the way down and all the way back up in the very same candle. If we zoom in, we actually did the exact same thing again, slowly, a couple of times as well. We came all the way back down. That took 8 hours roughly, or 4 hours, however you want to call it. And then in the next 4-hour candle, we went all the way back up. And we only went back up to this particular range. These two boxes are clearly very, very important for the market. The next thing that happened, of course, was the same thing. And we continued to fulfill that same pattern, later on in the month in March. So very clearly, ladies and gents, an important price level stretching between $71,000 and $68,000. If we're able to get above it, I have no reason to believe that we won't be able to get all the way up here. If we manage to get up to $71,500, this would be the next key level to break. If we break this level, we're back up to all-time highs and the party restarts. That's where I think things could get really fun. And on the flip side, if we do get rejected here, and it doesn't look like we will, it actually looks like we're going to move up. But if we do get rejected here, we're back down to this area of support, failing that this area, failing that this area, and failing that, we are looking at the very low 50k range. So I'll talk to you about that a little bit as well, but I want to bring you back to this tweet here. This is one of the guys on Twitter that I follow. Not necessarily the greatest, but certainly not the worst. I don't really have favorites on Twitter. I think that they're all good. And this is one of the guys that I would put in that category. He's actually one of the bigger profiles as well. He's saying Bitcoin, pump it to new all-time highs before the halving, get everyone bullish expecting 80k plus, and then nuke it back down to take out the lows at 59k for a sell the news event for halving. Go sideways during the summer, then rally to 100k plus by election in the fall. Very succinct, lots of information in there, and very much exactly what I was looking at as well. I think what a lot of people are quite dangerously misguided about is that when it comes to subjects like the halving, it doesn't mean that on the day of the halving we're actually going to get anything particularly huge or massive or groundbreaking. I think this is a really big deal, and a lot of people are hurting themselves by forgetting about it. We've got 12 days left until the halving. 14 days left until the halving. The estimated date does change because this is based on blocks, not time. So we've got 2 weeks left until the halving. And I think absolutely everybody and their grandmother is expecting that something huge is going to happen to the market on that particular day. But if you were here during the previous halving, please raise your hand and tell me in the comment section down below, I was here at the last halving. You're going to remember that what happened was actually very underwhelming. Nothing actually happened at the last halving. Nothing happened in, on the day after, on the day before, and it seems like everybody expects, just the craziest, most, insane blow off or whatever, as we approach the halving. But the reality, and I always say this to you guys, because, and it's right when you hear me, because it just sounds like real life, and the reality is just that things are typically a lot more boring than people give credit for. People really expect that everything's really, really fun and exciting, and that's definitely how it's going to play out in your mind. But in real life, things just happen a bit more slow. Things happen a bit more in a boring way. There are fucking weekends, there's different little bits here and there. There's all sorts of different factors that make things more boring than you want them to be in the crypto space. And that's why I don't think that we're actually, kind of heading into the craziest, halving of Bitcoin's life. I just think it's too predictable. I think it's actually exactly like the Bitcoin ETF. Those of you that remember the Bitcoin ETF when it launched, that happened, I believe it was like on, I don't know, it was like the 12th of January, wasn't it? Or like something, it was like something right around here. And absolutely nothing happened. If anything, actually, we just ended up trading downwards, and it was a sell the news event. But you know, when we did end up getting that nice big move, it took an entire month afterwards. I would not want to rule that out. You know, if we do something similar right now, this is what I was talking about. I know I was showing you my face, but this is what I was talking about right here. You know, the halving that took place right around over here, we saw a dump, and it took about 30 days for the price action to really start going where we wanted it to. So that kind of brings us to another point that he mentioned here for a sell the news event for the halving. That's really important, right? I mean, typically these are, any news event is a sell the news event. It's buy the hype and sell the news, right? And if that's been the strategy for Bitcoin here, you would have done incredibly well. You know, if you were buying the hype and selling the news, well, you knew that the halving was coming in 2024, or you saw that we were stable here under an area of resistance and probably able to break it. I think 25K, I mean, 30K was the easiest buy ever for Bitcoin. You know, once we get that breakout, that's it. You know that this thing is very, very strong. You know, and naturally that's where you'd be kind of buying all the rumors that are going to start coming up. And if you're playing the sell the news game, I mean, look, you might miss out on the next 2, 3, 10x that Bitcoin pulls, right? If that does end up happening. But, you know, you've also more than doubled your money from that 30K price level. And that's just the 30K price level. You guys know that I entered my long position way the fuck down here at 21.5, which I'm still in. You guys have been seeing all of the profit screenshots of this. Obviously, this is a very outdated screenshot. I've made way more money on this trade now, you know, than just what you're seeing on these screenshots. I've shown you guys all over these videos here. Absolutely phenomenal position. Still, of course, super happy with it. You know, but you've been giving many chances since then as well. And you know, if you're playing that and you're not really interested in the 10x because, you know, you're just more of a calm, stable guy that's not necessarily looking for those kind of gains, then you've done incredibly well. And I think that's important because for a time, if this does end up happening, what he's saying is range for the summer, you know, I mean, he's not showing you the other half of this. That could actually mean something much lower, like down towards, like I said, the low 50s, 40s, whatever, you know, until election season in the United States later on this year. That one's going to be super fun to watch. You know, and that could end up meaning, you know, a bit of a boring summer for crypto, right? And I think that actually, you know, it would make a lot of sense in a lot of ways. We've done a lot already, you know, and for the halving to just be one of these things where absolutely all of these dickhead normies are completely correct. I just don't see it, guys. I just don't see that you can get on Twitter and start pumping meme coins and shit like that, and that shit can sustain itself while the price is already massively up without a pullback. That kind of thing, just, to me, that's just not how the world works. You know, you might have opposing views. You might also be very young if you hold those opposing views, I guess, because you'd be very optimistic through misguided perceptions of what actually happens in the world. But typically, things are indeed a lot more boring, and typically, news events like this are seldom news events. So it's not something I would want to rule out. It also allows us to, you know, get a lot of people out of the market, and then you start rallying up and really fulfilling what everybody is expecting a little bit later on. To me, these things just undoubtedly seem like the most likely outcome for Bitcoin, and that's what I want to be focusing on in terms of, you know, being prepared in case it happens. That doesn't mean I'm not prepared if the price continues to go up, of course. We've got to keep that in mind. I mean, if the price continues to go up, first of all, it's not going to take a lot for that to happen. We've got to break this area of resistance. This trend line happens to line up with the same price range, so we've got to break that, and then we've got to break 71K. None of these areas should be particularly strong for Bitcoin to break in terms of resistance. And if we do get back above that all-time high, maybe even set a brand new all-time high, which is what the tweet here references, you know, I mean, it could still get very crazy. In fact, crypto god John himself, you know, has flip-flopped just a little bit on this. Not necessarily flip-flop, that's completely the wrong word, but it's actually been pointed out by a viewer. You said 88K yesterday, and Johnny comes in with exactly what I would say, which is that the reaction at the all-time high will be telling. Right now, this looks very plausible, but once we get to the all-time high, we might find out that actually it's looking really strong. Previously, those of you that remember what was going on back here and back here, you're going to remember that Bitcoin wasn't really exhibiting that much strength when it was breaking its all-time high. You know, Bitcoin was looking strong because it was at an all-time high, but it wasn't looking that strong, right? It wasn't looking that crazy. And when we start to combine this with a couple other things that I want to show you guys, you know, it's looking a little bit shaky for the S&P 500 too. You know, it's been a really big rally. There hasn't been any sort of significant pullback at all since November of last year. You know, we've moved up by 28%. It's taken 165 days, and the deepest pullback the S&P 500 has managed to pull off is about 2.2%, 2.6% here. We just don't have big pullbacks on the S&P 500. You know, to me, that's a very telling sign. If we take a look at the dollar, it's been looking fairly strong. It's been rallying up all this time as well, which makes no sense for the S&P 500, but that's just what it is. And if it's able to continue rallying up, then that's probably going to put it back in that 105 area. That's an important kind of area for the dollar, because we know, and it's been proven very clearly, that there is an inverse correlation with Bitcoin and the dollar. That inverse correlation doesn't hold up all the time. There are sometimes exceptions or deviations from that correlation, but it is still there. And if that means the dollar is going to continue to move up, and if we're seeing the S&P 500 on a kind of shaky platform, then these are warning signs for Bitcoin. We know that these are warning signs for Bitcoin because if traditional finance is looking super healthy and safe and secure, then people have a risk appetite for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a risky asset. But as soon as you get these traditional safe markets not looking so healthy, not looking so comfortable, it's going to be a lot harder to be comfortable taking risk with Bitcoin. We're already seeing that manifest in the altcoin market. One of the key things I've been discussing with you guys on this channel is Bitcoin's dominance. Bitcoin's dominance remains in an uptrend and is now back at the highs that we've only briefly been at over these last 6 months. If we're able to hold this level and continue to move up in terms of Bitcoin's dominance, that's going to mean even more seas of red for altcoins. We've already been seeing it for Ethereum. I've been very vocal with you guys about how I'm expecting Ethereum to return back down to this level, and that is exactly what happened. A lot of people were getting very bullish on Ethereum as we were trending back up here. And I was actually coming on stream telling you guys that I'm not actually super hyped up about this. I'm not actually super interested in this. Those of you that are subscribed are going to be very well aware of what I'm talking about now. And actually I think we're probably coming back down to the bottom of this orange box. These are the kind of things I was telling you guys about, and that's exactly where we are. I think there's actually a much bigger drop that we could be seeing for Ethereum on this chart, and that's going to lead into an even higher Bitcoin dominance. I'm not going to talk about that in today's video, but if you want me to talk about it, please ask me to make the Ethereum Bitcoin analysis video in the comment section down below. And if enough of you ask, to where I think that you guys actually want to see that, then I'm super happy to make that video and cover with you my in-depth analysis on Ethereum. It's actually, for me, one of the more exciting setups in the market because it's so easy to make money on Ethereum compared to Bitcoin in my experience. Ethereum is gonna, and you can see it quite clearly on this chart, right? When you manage to produce big moves on Ethereum, just this low up to this high, took 3 months, but that's a 72% gain. That means if you put 1 Bitcoin in over here, you walk away with 1.7 up here, and it only took 3 months. And again, just to put that math in perspective, if you've got 1 Bitcoin at 60, let's make it easy for me because I'm bad at math. If you've got 1 Bitcoin at 50K and then you make 72% more Bitcoin, you're going to have, I don't know. I actually don't know, like $85,000 instead of 50K the next time. I have no idea, but I think you got my point. It's going to be good for you to increase your Bitcoin holdings, and I think Ethereum is one of the best ways to do that. It's been one of the best ways to do that since I started trading way back here in 2017. So I've lived through a lot of this to see that certain things tend to work better than others in terms of making money, and those are the things that I like to stick to. Obviously, sometimes it means that while everybody else is having an absolutely crazy crack cocaine fueled party, I'm just chilling, minding my own business, doing what I need to do. But it does still mean that I'm also very quietly making very good gains that other people can't even dream of. They've got to fake P&L screenshots, or run two separate accounts hedging their position, and then only show you the profit of of the account which is making money, and then the other account is just hedged, right? So they're not actually trading anything, but they've got a nice P&L picture. These are the kind of gains people have to fake, to show, well, 34% is easy. But, and like I said, these are super, super out of date. But this is just what I'm going for. Nice and easy, nice and quiet, shut the fuck up, make your money, go home. That's my game. That's what I do. That's what I live by. And that's exactly how I like to play this game. So, those are a couple bits that I think are very, very interesting. If we take a look at a couple more altcoins before coming back to Bitcoin, we're clearly at levels where key areas of support have been lost, and we're potentially going to have to revisit even lower levels of support. We're seeing this across the market with a lot of different coins. Some coins haven't quite lost those levels yet. Some of them already have. Some of them have said fuck you to all of this, like Solana. There are exceptions. Different altcoins are doing different things. It's very interesting to watch. These meme coins, for example, are also looking very interesting. Pepe right now, just holding its breath, hoping that nothing bad happens, because if it does lose this particular area of support, it's going to be a long way back down to its next areas of support, right? So this is a very, very interesting bottom area for Pepe, and I would say, it probably stretches a little bit, down to like here, right? So basically more or less where we are right now. I can't even read this number, 656. Yeah, these numbers make no sense, but that's where Pepe is, and so to see it kind of lose this level would be concerning, but as long as we're above it, there's, a nice little, swing to the upside that could be played. But if you're trading this kind of thing, then I don't know, that's quite a high risk appetite. That's certainly not me. That's certainly not something I think I'd be able to do. But, these are ideas that I wanted to put on your radar. Back to this tweet here, it's just something that makes sense to me. You tag those lows, you've got some lows down here, at that 59K area, maybe sweep below this wick. You're going to stop a lot of positions out. That's also something I want to look at, because I have heard, but I haven't checked myself, that the long short ratios have kind of even out. Let me just make sure that that's correct. I'm doing this analysis with you guys. I haven't looked at this stuff, like I said at the beginning of the video, but no, they haven't even out. We're actually majority long, aren't we? So we've been quite heavy majority long for a while. What about the funding rates then? That could be it. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on. But I think that definitely tells us that there is still some very, very clear some very, very clear bullish price action preferred in this market right now by retail traders. So that's going to be another thing that I personally just want to be taking into account and viewing. For now, back to the price though, like I said, we break this area of resistance, we're up to 71, and then it's probably a pretty easy ride up to the all-time highs. We get rejected here, and I think we're looking at falling back down to the bottom, and I think we're personally I think that we're kind of poised for the upside here. I think that's what's more likely, given the fact that we're in this kind of strong bullish pattern. We're consolidating after setting an all-time high. This is the kind of body language that the market exhibits before it moves up again. That doesn't mean it has to, but that we're not looking at 100% probability. We're just looking at what's more likely to happen, and that's what I'm seeing. And if the market it doesn't end up doing that, or even if it does, I do still think that, kind of returning back to these lows would make a lot of sense. And I think also, doing something a little bit like this, but then continuing to trade sideways and actually falling out of the range down towards $40,000, that would also be quite unexpected. I don't really think anybody's expecting the market to do that. And if that is exactly what happens, then, I don't think it could be too surprising for us, at least in hindsight. So that's why. That's something I want to keep an eye out for. But I know a lot of you guys are wondering what I'm doing to position my capital, in this market. And, I've told you guys before, I sold a little bit of Bitcoin earlier. I haven't sold anything else. I've taken a little bit of profits, taken some more profits off my positions, but I haven't done a whole lot. Even though you can tell I'm just clearly not as excited and psyched up about this market going up as everybody else. I'm not really moving my capital around for that. I'm more so staying prepared for when that move does happen, because I don't want to downsize my positions. I think ultimately, probably like most of you, I think Bitcoin's going to be going much higher. I think Bitcoin, could easily pass $100,000, for example, if not significantly more. And, for me to get, like a 10-20% better entry, but then risk missing the rest of the upside, to me, that doesn't, it's just too risky. That, you've got risk and you've got reward. And to me, it's the risk is too high. The reward is too high, to miss out on. So, it's not the kind of risk I personally would want to take, but I know that some people are quite excited about that kind of thing. What I will say as a final note, because ultimately you can solve most of your problems. That I get people coming into my VIP program and they've got serious problems as traders sometimes. Like it's most people do, so it's not like people that look for my VIP group are bad traders. It's just most people are bad traders, and what we have is a situation where I'm telling you guys, those of you that pick up my yearly package, you get, free phone calls with me. And I'm telling you guys, like, look, you've got some serious fucking problems as traders, but none of these are problems that, should be difficult to fix. All of these are things that you could fix overnight if you so choose to. It's just a mindset thing. And one of them is this trigger happy thing that I'm talking about. One of them is not being okay with the idea of not trading. And, when you kind of put yourself in that kind of trap, you start to find yourself in a very dangerous position where you're just constantly losing money, maybe even losing profits that you've made over the last months. You're not even able to hold on to them. And obviously that's a pretty bad position too. So there's a lot of traps that we want to avoid. And obviously that's what we do quite a good job of, doing on this particular YouTube channel. So while everybody, and this is, like I said, the final note I want to leave you with, while everybody who might want to sell is going to sell looking for a, 20%, 30% better entry, what I say, my perspective on this is, I get it, and I think you've got a good point, but the risk of that is very high. The risk of it actually working. A lot of things you need to line up in your favor, right? You need to sell, then you need the price to drop down to your buy level, then you need to actually have conviction to buy, because typically if the price just dropped $20,000, it's not going to be easy to commit to your plan anymore. You're going to think the price is going to drop down by more. So you've got to buy it back, and then you've got to hope you're not in a larger bear market, and then, finally you break even many months later. It's not like the easy process that I think everybody else thinks it's going to be, and on top of that, well, what if you just made 20-30%, trading something a lot easier, a lot more manageable, and I think that's where, like I said, a lot of people do end up falling short. To put this in perspective, right, I mean, this is a pretty obvious potential short. I'm not saying it's a good short, but I know that people are going to be interested in shorts. Or in fact, better yet, let's use this exact area here. We bounced off this area, so we knew that this area was probably going to be support, and of course, that's exactly what it was. From this candle close down to the low, that's already a 3.7% move. Literally trading this on 10x leverage would result in a 37% profit. It's way too easy to make this money, in other ways, rather than, kind of scrambling to sell your entire fucking stack, just to make an extra 20-30%. Like, you can make that 20-30% within hours. You don't have to, bank on like fucking 7 different things playing out perfectly and the stars aligning and, another eclipse happening in May. You don't have to bank on these kind of things to make the money you're looking for. There are easier ways to get there. And what's really cool about this is, that's a super easy, predictable setup, right? I mean, the same setup exists from here down to here, and even, just going long if we break the all-time high. All of these trades are possible with the free capital these exchanges are giving you. Like I said, with Bitcoin, with the $500 Bitcoin position on Bybit, that's something that, I personally couldn't have done because I can't use these offers, but a 37% profit on $500, which is free, is a lot of good money. I actually need to do this calculation now because I'm curious. If we've got 500 and we get a 37% profit, you are taking home $185 there. So, and that's off free money. That money was given to you completely free of charge. You didn't have to do anything other than sign up using my link, and you're walking away with $185 for free. With that, and that is super, super cool. You can even withdraw it then and there if you're happy with your profits. So, well worth checking out. Obviously, the rest of these exchanges with no KYC requirements, also offering similar things, which are very, very powerful. Again, people always ask me, what would I do if I was starting, again, fresh in the space? Guys, there are so many free opportunities for money in this crypto market that I would just take these. I would take these and I would trade. To get $500 for free to start trading is fucking insane. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And it's the only thing I'd be interested in doing because, there's a lot that you can do with that kind of money, especially when you're starting out. So definitely check them out. The more you trade with, the more of a bonus you're going to get, and that's going to go up to $30,000 in free trading capital. So well worth checking all that out. Of course, you've got my direct contact links down below and my social links. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram if you like that kind of thing. And I will see you all in the very next video. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.